I don't know what energy is trying to prevent me from making this video, but I'm not going to let you win, okay? I have a Mars-Saturn conjunction. I'm a fighter. I'm a fighter. Even if I have obstacles, I'm going to fight my way through. So, the last and final time, I am on video number 3 in my Rising Sign series, and I probably just have to talk a little bit slower and process my thoughts because as a Mercury in Aquarius, my Mercury is in an air house. My mind is always doing this. So I'm going to talk a little bit slower, y'all. And Mercury is in Taurus right now, so that's kind of helping me. But I am on video number 3 in my Rising Sign series. So if you are a Gemini rising, or if you're trying to be nosy and get some details on a Gemini rising, then this video is for you. Now, remember, your rising sign essentially is your first impression to the world. How do people view you before they get to know you, before they get to know your emotions? That is your rising sign, that first impression. And it's also how you view the world as well. Now, I'm a Scorpio rising. Scorpio is all about things that are secretive and hidden and finding the truth and not trusting. I am somebody who kind of views the world that way. Like, I don't trust people. I think everyone's secretive. I think everybody has something to hide, and so again, that's how you view it through the lens of your rising sign. So remember, Gemini is an air sign, and air signs are the communicators of the zodiac. So one, Gemini risings could come across very talkative, very curious, always asking questions, always wanting to know and learn every single thing. Learning every single thing, including things like gossip. Gemini energy is known to be a gossiper. What's going on? What's happening? Who are we talking about here? That is Gemini type of energy. So you could be somebody who knows everything about everything and everyone. But also too, Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is the communication sign of the zodiac, the communication sign, and also the sign of your intellect. So you could be somebody who's always in your head too. A lot of anxiety can come to Gemini risings, Gemini energy in general. The anxiety and on just the overthinking can be a thing that is seen through Gemini rising energy. Now, I personally don't know too many Gemini risings off the top of my head, but I have had clients who do have a Gemini rising, and I can kind of share a few experiences that I've heard them say about their life. Also, remember, your rising sign is not going to be the same, or how you display that. It's not going to be the same as another Gemini rising, because one, you have to look at what degree is your rising sign. And also, because the rising sign is in the first house, do you have other planets or placements in the first house of astrology that can all change the energy of how, of course, how you present yourself to the world? So don't be jumping down my throat talking about that's not how I am, that's not true or whatever. It's much deeper than just 12 different personalities in the world, okay? So let me get that out of the way. Now, too, Gemini risings can come across very intellectual because, again, because you like to learn everything, you probably know a little bit about a lot of stuff. So people can look at you like, man, that person's really smart. They know about this and they know about that and they know about this. So that's kind of the energy that you can give off to people. You can also be somebody who's very adaptable because Gemini is a mutable sign. So being able to adapt to change. I love traveling with mutable placements because they can just go with the flow. There's not so fixated on, no, we must have a schedule, we must have a routine. Geminis can mutate into whatever they need to do for the time being. Now, like I said, loving to talk, loving to have conversation. Gemini risings can always be somebody who's always on the phone, always on social media, because they always need to be talking or communicating with someone. So just understand that if you have a partner who's always on that phone, it's probably because they have Gemini energy or air sign energy in general. It's the communication sign. So they got to talk. They got to talk to somebody. And because you are a Gemini rising, Cancer rules over your second house in astrology, which is the moon. So wherever moon is in your chart, it can fluctuate that area of life. And the second house is the house of wealth and things that you value, your possessions, your family. So your wealth can go up and down, fluctuate wherever the moon is. It's fluctuating that area of life. It also can be an indication that your mom or a mother figure either had a lot of wealth or accumulated a lot of things, because Taurus is all about possessions too. So she could have a collection of something, a hoarder, always having stuff, maybe jewels, maybe some kind of like luxury item or Taurus type of item that can also be seen through there. Your communication also with her can be more important than any other family member too, because second house is family. And because moon rules over your second house, that is mother energy. Now, depending on, again, what is placed in that second house, the communication can be either like very positive or y'all just will be wanting to scrap all the time. But again, the communication between the mother is very important too. Because you have Gemini rising, the sun rules over your third house. And so, of course, the sun is Leo type of energy. It can be ego, it can be spotlight, it can be scorched type of energy. But you, whenever it comes to communication, the third house is the house of traveling, the house of siblings, the house of like mass media. You could be somebody who likes to talk to the masses, likes to present yourself like, look at me, on social media, look at me, or with your siblings too. Communication with your siblings can be very maybe even egotistical because again the sun is ego, the sun is pride, the sun is attention. So all of those energies can be seen through your house of communication and travel. Now your fourth house is ruled by Virgo and Virgo energy. Now if you have Virgo placements, love y'all, but Virgos can be very nitpicky, very critical in nature. So whenever it comes to your home, you can be very calculative, like, no, we must do it like this and run it like this. And that can kind of maybe annoy people. It can be valued though, because sometimes people need structure. And as much as I get annoyed by the nitpickiness, Virgo energy is needed because y'all look at every single thing, or Virgo energy looks at every single thing. And so it can apply that for you, Gemini rising, to your home. Now, again, like I said, it just depends on if somebody values that or not. Just know that you can be a little bit nitpicky whenever it comes to your home. And for you, Libra rules over your fifth house. So the fifth house that's Venus energy. So the fifth house is the house of children. It's the house of fun, romance, things like that. So for you, you could have a very balanced relationship with your kids. Now, of course, depending on the fifth house placements and how it is, but generally it's either you're constantly trying to balance your relationship with them or have a balanced relationship with children. Venus is all about love, luxury, things that you value. But again, that's Libra type of energy, is constantly looking for balance in the area of fifth house, which is also, again, casual dating, casual romance as well. Now, for you, Mars does rule over your sixth house of work, day-to-day routines. It's that Virgo house. So you could face a lot of opposition, maybe even debt whenever it comes to you, because sixth house is the house of work, and Scorpio energy. Scorpio rules over the eighth house of shared finances, debt, taxes, things like that. So you could run into money issues. It's sixth house is also the house of like legal things too. So just to be aware of that, you're not doing anything, but just that's kind of the energy of your life and kind of what's going on with that area. For you, your seventh house. Now, your rising sign, whenever it comes to partnership, you just look directly across the seventh house, and your opposite sign or your sister sign is Sagittarius. So this is something that I have seen with one of my clients. Hopefully you're not watching this. One of my clients did mention that they had a partner who was very philosophical in nature. Now, Sagittarius is the philosopher. And because they are into astrology, their partner was more of a religious type. And so constantly preaching to them like, oh, you shouldn't be looking at that. They could come across to you as very preachy. Sagittarius is a preacher of the zodiac, the teacher of the zodiac. So always telling you maybe their philosophies, what they think is right, what they think is morally right, or just being a very optimistic partner as well, because Sagittarius is optimism too, but they can force their beliefs on you having this placement. Now, just to be aware of that and to also make that person aware of themselves too, because nobody likes to be preached at. Now, I'm a Sagittarius stellium. I'm sitting here on here preaching to y'all about astrology, but I'm not a Gemini rising. So you could be attracting partners that are like that, but just to be aware and make them aware to tone it down sometimes, because they don't like that. You don't like that. And for you, though, Saturn rules over your eighth house. Now, eighth house is the house of Scorpio, the house of shared finances, taxes, inheritance, transformation. And so having Saturn in eighth house, one, you're probably going to live a very long time just because that's the house of, I don't like to say the word, the D word, not that D word, but the D word. And Saturn slows things down. So your life, longevity, that can also be seen through there too. But you can also be very calculative with your family, very disciplined, because the eighth house is the house of other people, other people's money. So you could be taking that very serious, really making sure that the other people in your life are taken care of. You have that disciplined type of energy in that area of life. Now, for you, Aquarius rules over the ninth house in your chart, which is the house of Sagittarius, your beliefs, your moral system. As an Aquarius sun, Aquarius energy is very objective. We can look at both sides of everything, not be too fanatical with one thing or the other. Like when it comes to astrology, I love astrology. I wish everybody could know it and learn it. But if I come across somebody who's like, I don't believe in that thing, like I'm not about to sit here and convince you. Like whatever, I don't care. So you could be somebody who's like that as well whenever it comes to your beliefs, whatever you believe in. And you can also be somebody who can believe a little bit about everything too, because as an Aquarius energy over that house of yours, you can be like, okay, I can see a little bit of that, and I can see a little bit of this, and I can understand this. And so that's kind of how you can develop your philosophy as well. Now, for Pisces, you can be, I mean, Pisces rules over your 10th house. So you could be somebody who either, whenever it comes to career, because 10th house is the house of your public reputation or your career, you could be somebody who is either like a healer or the spiritual one of your, let's say the spiritual one at your job, or you can be in a healing type of profession. You could be somebody who just instills wisdom all the time. As your reputation, you are the wise one. You are known to be the wise one. That is something that I've seen though with one of my clients who's a Gemini rising. They are very Piscean in how they, kind of display themselves in the world. It's all about art and music. That's a big thing too. I believe they are in music, like as their career, producing and making music, things like that. So again, you can come across Piscean like as your reputation or your public image in the world too. Now, for you, Aries rules over your 11th house, which is the house of friends. Aries is ruled by Mars. And so you could be somebody who can gain through your enemies, because the 11th house is also the house of like social network and big public organizations, because Aquarius rules over those kind of things. And so having Mars in there, Aries energy, you can gain through your enemies or just fight with them, or you just have a higher energy whenever it comes to large social groups, large networks. Now, Taurus is rules over your 12th house. So it could be the fact that you are, because it's Pisces house, you could be somebody who's very artistic, very creative, because you have Venus energy in the house of Pisces. So that's just like two beautiful energies. So it can give you the ability to be a good writer, a good director, somebody who is like a Pixar animator, somebody who's just very creative. You could tend to gravitate towards those things, or be like a writer, like a Harry Potter. Those kind of things are seen through there, because Gemini also is into writing. Gemini is a communicator. Gemini is an air sign. So you could be a good writer and then write about more of like the creative fantasy type of things, or more beautiful type of things too. But overall, y'all, my mind is going fast. I thought I was going to slow down, but I feel like I'm talking fast. That is why there's an option on YouTube where you can slow down the speech or speed up the speech with people, depending on your Mercury sign. That's really where that comes from, y'all. So anyways, y'all, that is Gemini rising, a general energy for it. I appreciate y'all so much for supporting. No, I really do. Like, I'm not even playing. I'm just grateful. I am grateful that I can teach in the way that I want to teach and not in the public school way. So I appreciate y'all for supporting. And if you would like a in-depth analysis of your actual birth chart, I can go really, really deep. I can tell you some things about a lot of things. Go ahead and visit me on any social media platform. You can go to my website. You can book through there, comment below, comment whatever. Tell me, did this resonate? Did this not resonate? Whatever. Thank y'all anyways, and I will talk to you soon on the next video, which will be Cancer rising. Bye.